When an unstoppable force collides with an immovable object, there can be only one outcome. Hey, what's up? I'm Jason, and this channel is for vinyl lovers who want to find new vinyl to listen to, purchase, or avoid. I focus on vinyl, but everyone is welcome. Before we jump in, I have to tell you that as of the recording of this video, my 1,000 subscriber giveaway is right around the corner, so stick around until the end to see the video that tells you how to qualify for one of two grails. Okay, now let's jump right in. In August of 1961, the John Coltrane Quintet played an engagement at the legendary Village Gate in Greenwich Village, New York, and guess who was in the house? The incomparable, the unparalleled, the unsurpassable, the utterly unique musician of par excellence, Eric the Barbaric Dolphy. On this 2 LP album are 80 minutes of never before heard music from this group, discovered at the New York Public Library. This isn't the only time that Coltrane and Dolphy recorded together, but this newly discovered live date is still like finding a diamond in a haystack. This is Evenings at the Village Gate. The Village Gate was a large basement room with a growing reputation in 1961. Coltrane worked there in August as part of a triple bill alongside groups led by drummer Art Blakey and pianist Horace Silver. Can you even imagine? The Village Gate had a state-of-the-art sound system, and for this one night during Coltrane's run, they decided to test the system by capturing the band using a single RCA ribbon microphone suspended above the stage, with a line running to a reel-to-reel recorder. The tapes were never intended for public consumption, but they managed to find their way to a collection at the New York Public Library for the Performing Arts, where they were recently rediscovered by a Bob Dylan archivist. This record can be had for around 40 bucks. I got mine from one of my favorite Portland, Oregon record stores, Jackpot Records. You can get yours wherever fine records are sold, but before you pull the trigger, let's pop this thing in the oven and see how it sounds. Oh, baby! All right, let's jump into this album and break down what happens when two jazz titans collide on the same stage. Actually, 3 jazz titans. Let's start with the pressing. These records were released in mono on the Impulse label. The album officially hit the shelves today, July 14th, 2023. Other musicians that appear on this album are Elvin Jones on drums and McCoy Tyner on piano. Man, what a lineup! In addition to some well-known Coltrane material, there is a feature for Dolphy's bass clarinet on When Lights Are Low, and the only known and non-studio recording of Coltrane's composition Africa from the Africa Brass album. My records weighed in at about 159 grams. I couldn't find any other information about the album as far as where it was pressed, who engineered it, or who cut the lacquers. If I find any information after the fact, I'll pin it in a comment to this video, or if you know any other tidbits about this album's release, please feel free to leave a comment as well. What I can tell you is you will definitely want to clean these records. Unfortunately, we only got paper sleeves, and there was a ton of white sleeve residue on mine, but after a clean, these records are very quiet. And I was actually a little worried when I first dropped the needle on these, because sometimes I'll drop a new record on a turntable without a clean just to see what we get out of the box, and this one actually skipped. But after a good clean, it was fine. So please clean your records before dropping the needle, and I would recommend re-sleeving this baby in a poly sleeve just to avoid any issues in the future. So what about warping? My records are very flat as can be. As always, your mileage may vary on this, but there's no issue with warping on these records. How about distortion? None to speak of. There are a lot of dynamics going on here, from cymbals to piano to some high register playing by both Coltrane and Dolphy, and everything is clean and distortion free. And sonics, These records are very sonically impressive for a single mic'd live album. The crowd applause and whatnot is audible without being distracting. You really feel like you're in the house for this one, and it sounds just great in mono. Okay, so how about the music? Let me give you a general spoiler-free overview of the music on these records. This album includes 5 long tunes on 4 sides. You already know, I love that, especially when you have Coltrane, Dolphy, and McCoy Tyner in the house. There's just so much room for these amazing musicians to stretch out. I really love that about this album. The tunes are My Favorite Things, When Lights Are Low, Impressions, Green Sleeves, and Africa. So I had to go straight to side B to hear When Lights Are Low, which features Dolphy on bass clarinet, and it is just such a treat. This tune is a groovy, kind of bluesy, swinging composition, and it is just perfect for Dolphy's avant-garde stylings. It's a very cool tune, and it sounds just fantastic. The other sides on this album are just as impressive. I might be the slightest bit biased because to me, Dolphy is God, but for people that tend to shy away from avant-garde jazz, I think Dolphy's live recordings are a lot more accessible, and these records are a great way to hear this amazing group. If you have any interest in checking out this album, my advice would be do not hesitate. If you're a fan of Coltrane, or if you're a fan of Dolphy, if you love extended freewheeling tunes, if you love McCoy Tyner, I mean, there is something for everybody here. And my thanks goes out to whoever mastered and engineered this. For being a live single mic recording, it sounds just fantastic. All right, that wraps up my review for Evenings at the Village Gate featuring John Coltrane and Eric Dolphy, and I have to add McCoy Tyner, who contributes some awesome piano on these proceedings. This album is a real treat, and I would not hesitate to add it to your collection. Don't forget to click this video, which will tell you everything you need to know to qualify to win one of these amazing albums. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.